thing. I think today I am planning to discuss more of the WBCs and platelets. But before we go into that, I wanted to discuss about something like an RDW. Remember, it is the most confusing many a times. Red cell distribution width. Now, of course, we have discussed this in the last lecture, but I wanted to take this right now because this is something which is not understood. This is something which is different than what you already know. Now, remember RDW stands for red blood cell distribution width. That means it is a variation in the size of the RBCs. Now, remember, normally also RBCs vary in size. Of course, normal value is about 11 to 15%. That is what is a variation, standard deviation. Now, remember, we have discussed in the last lecture that in case of iron deficiency anemias, RBCs are of small size. And in case of megaloblastic anemia, RBCs are large. Remember, even if you read from the book, it is very difficult to understand this. But let's say this is what is the picture in which normal RBC variation is about 11 to 15% in the size variation I'm talking about. If the patient goes into iron deficiency anemia, cells will be smaller. In case of megaloblastic anemia, cells will be larger. So logically, in the early phase of iron deficiency anemias and megaloblastic anemias, cells will be smaller or larger. That means in the early iron deficiency anemias, RDW will be increased because cells will be smaller and other cells will be normal size. So I can say early iron deficiency anemias and megaloblastic anemias, we have high RDW. Let me summarize that in the corner because this is the most confusing thing. But if you understand this, the hematology becomes more interesting. Like this, I'm talking about early iron deficiency anemias and megaloblastic anemias. We have high RDW because cells are smaller or cells may be larger. I can say in case of the established iron deficiency anemia or a long-term iron deficiency anemia. Now remember what will happen. Let's say what is common sense. In established iron deficiency anemia or in the late stage of an iron deficiency anemia, all cells are smaller because in the early stage, only some cells are smaller. So in established iron deficiency anemia, we have a low RDW because all cells are small. Because all cells are small. Now remember, this seems like very confusing, but let me have a whiteboard on this so that we can understand. So that we can understand. Because if this is understood, things becomes very much interesting. Things becomes very much interesting. We have a whiteboard. Okay, so we were talking about RDW stands for red cell distribution width, which is about 11 to 15% normal. This gives you about an idea about a variation in the size of the RBC. Remember, if this is understood, let me talk about this again. The hematology becomes more interesting. So we discussed about in case of an iron deficiency anemia and megaloblastic anemia, we have low MCV. That means a small size. Here we have an high MCV. So we have a large size. Now let's say patient has just entered into iron deficiency. So I can say early iron deficiency anemia and megaloblastic anemia. In the early phase, most of the cells are normal, but in IDA, cells will become smaller and megaloblastic anemia cell will become larger. So I can see in the early phase of iron deficiency anemia, because normal cells are also there and smaller cells are also there, there will be high RDW. This is what is capital A. let's say for example. In case of the late stage, if you have with the blue color, in case of late stage of IDA and megaloblastic anemia, here all cells become small because it's a late stage, and here all cells become large. So in the late stage, because all cells are becoming small or large, what we can see, there is a low RDW. So we can say the anemia is short lasting or long lasting on the first accord. This is what we can say. Secondly, when you start treating the patient, let's say for example, if it is a late stage, if you start treating the patient, cells will start becoming normal. So in the late stage, when you start with a low RDW, when you start treating it, it becomes a high RDW. As a low RDW becomes a high RDW when you start treating it. When you start treating it. You may take the screenshot of this right now. Anybody has got any doubt about this? Because this is what is very confusing. If you have any doubt, you can raise your hands. I'll unmute you. Because this is one of the most important things which is not answered in any books. Or I can say, even if you read from the books, it is not understood. Okay, let's see. Yes, Jyoti, you have any doubt? 1 second. Just give me a minute. Take the screenshot right now, then I'm go to the Jyoti's doubt. Let me go to Jyoti's doubt. Unmute. Yes, yes, Jyoti. What is that?
Explain it again. I joined now only 1 to 2 minutes ago.
To go to the screenshot because there are a lot of people are there in the group. So can take this.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Let me lower your hand.
Okay.
Your hand. Or you can go to the whiteboard again. Let's see if you have the same whiteboard. Okay, let's see. If you have... No, whiteboard is gone completely. Okay. Okay. Let me repeat it. I think most of the people have understood it. Let me repeat it once more. So, what we discuss in this, of course, the comparatively less important for the exams, but I can say more important for the practicing doctors. That I am talking about an RDW. It is a red cell distribution width. Normal value is about 11 to 15%, and this gives you an idea about the variation in the size of the RBCs. Variation in the size of an RBC. So I can say in the early iron deficiency anemia and megaloblastic anemia, because in iron deficiency anemia, the size goes on reducing of the RBCs, and in the size goes on increasing. So I can say early phase, because some cells are smaller in case of iron deficiency or larger in megaloblastic, has got a high RDW in the early phase. Then in the late phase, all cells have either become small or large and low RDW. And when you treat the patient, cells start becoming low RDW, high RDW. You understood it right now? Okay. Let me mute because there's a noise coming out. Okay. Let me go to the presentation. Of course, this was the last topic only, but I thought that this can make a little difference in the understanding. So today we're going to discuss about if this is we discussed in the last lecture. Let me go to the WBCs today. We go to WBCs today. This thing we have discussed. Pernicious folate deficiency we have discussed in the last lecture. Yes. And in this, I can say the most important that we all should know is the platelets. And remember, and the most important thing in the platelet, what we are worried about is dengue. We'll be having a separate discussion on a relationship of dengue and platelets. not only the number of platelets, but also remember the size of the platelets. That is what only practitioners know. Students are not exposed to this. It is something called the mean platelet volume that really decides the outcome in dengue. That is what we're also going to be discussing maybe today or maybe in the last Friday's lecture. So WBC comparatively easy to understand. This is what is the slide that we should know that total WBC count is 4,000 to 11,000. Differential count in this is that's what is a physiology thing. We all know about this. Neutrophils are 40 to 70%. Eosinophils are 1 to 4%. Basophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. Now remember, in this, we all also should know before we start into any practical aspects of this. Neutrophils kills the bacteria that to an acute infections. Eosinophils are mediators of the allergies. Basophils are again allergies or parasites. Monocytes and lymphocytes in case of chronic inflammations or I can say infections. So whatever is the function of these cells, if there is an situation in which their function increases, their count also increases. It's as simple as to understand that we all already know. So this is what is the differential count I was talking about. We have 11,000 is normal. I can say neutrophils 40 to 70%, then eosinophils, basophils. Then we have agranulocytes. Then we have agranulocytes. This is what is an everyone knows about this. This is also normal cells. How does it look like? Here, one thing practically important is the lobes in neutrophils. Usually, we know there's something called an hyper-segmented neutrophils. I'm going to be talking about. So let's say this is what is a neutrophil. If you can see the trilobed 1, 2, and 3 lobes with the violet color granules. We have basophils has got basophilic granules. Eosinophils has got a red color granules. Lymphocytes has got no granules. So this is what how the cells look like. Remember, in neutrophil, there are in general 3 lobes. If there are more lobes in neutrophil, the condition is called as an hyper segmented neutrophils. Remember, it is found in megaloblastic anemias that we should know, as well as the myeloproliferative disorders. But if the neutrophil has got more number of lobes, it is found in megalo. In fact, it is a more sensitive marker of megaloblastic anemia. Megaloblastic anemia is a more sensitive marker. Hyper-segmented neutrophils. Yeah, this is what is a neutrophil in circulation. You can take the screenshot. This is what is normal. You should keep it for your reference. Keep it for your. If you can see in the peripheral blood smear, these are the RBCs. Platelets are hardly seen. Yeah, and you can also see the properly the halo of the RBC. You can see properly. These are the RBCs, and if you can, there is a central halo, something called a central pallor or central halo. This is what is normal because RBCs are dumbbell shaped like this. So there is a, and also this ratio of halo to the diameter should be less than 30%. Now this is also important. The ratio of halo to the diameter should be less than 30%. If it is more than 30%, that is anemia. So even looking at one RBC also, we can say it is an anemia by looking at the diameter of the halo to the diameter of the whole RBC. If you can see, it is less than 30%. Most of the conditions. Most of the conditions. This is also we can see in case of RBC. Right? Yes. Any cells, we all know there's an increase in number or reduce in number. Let's say, for example, first thing is white blood cells. What does it do? It fight with the infection. Elevated is called as an leukocytosis that we all know. Decrease is called a leukopenia. It is also we know. Now, of course, the physiology question that causes of leukocytosis and leukopenia. But remember the common causes. If there is an increase in the WBC count more than 10,000, I can say it's infections, even common infections, tuberculosis, allergies. In infections, neutrophil count will go up. In common cold, again, if it is a superadded bacterial infection, neutrophil count will go up. Tuberculosis, lymphocyte count will go up. Allergy, eosinophil count will go up. Glandular fever, again, lymphocyte will go up. So remember, take the screenshot right now because this is what is, you can keep it for your reference. Infections, common cold, tuberculosis, allergy, and glandular fever. Leukopenia is decreased less than 4,000. It is used, it is done with an anaphylactic shock, anaphylaxis, because there all the WBCs are getting utilized. Cirrhosis of liver because there are more WBCs getting destroyed. Disorders of the spleen, again, more destruction. Pernicious anemia, again, it is not absorbed. It is not getting, the raw materials are not getting absorbed. Typhoid, paratyphoid fever, we can have relative leukopenia, paradoxical leukopenia, is, or in case of a chronic viral infections or acute infections, viral infections rather. So leukocytosis is rather more common than leukopenia, but leukopenia is dangerous. Leukocytosis is diagnostic or protective. So you may take the screenshot right now. Of course, it's easy to understand. Later on, share on the group so that everyone can get benefited. Leukopenia that we talked about less than 4,000. Then following is a differential diagnosis. Infections, some of the bacterial, like for example typhoid, but most of the bacterial has got increased or viral infection. Chemotherapy, one of the very important cause, because chemotherapy reduces mitosis, and mitosis is happening in bone marrow in formation of the blood cells. So chemotherapy reduces WBC count and the platelet count temporarily at least. We also have been responsible for drugs, antiepileptic drugs, sometimes long-term use of penicillins like rheumatic fever, rheumatic heart disease, sulfonamides, cephalosporins, cimetidine is not used, immunosuppressants, all reduces. So next time when you get a WBC count low, also think about all these things. Next time when you get a WBC count low WBC count, think about drugs also. It can be a possibility that patient is taking anti-epileptic drugs or a long-term use of antibiotics. It can also be malignancy. Hematological malignancy, also blood cancer. Comparatively rare cause, but one of the differential diagnoses. Now remember, in case of hematological malignancy, the cells become the blood, the WBCs become malignant. So because of that, the effective or normal WBCs reduces. Aplastic anemia, bone marrow suppression, spleen if it is enlarged, and some of the autoimmune disorders. So when you get a patient of leukopenia, think about one of the differential diagnoses among these. One of the differential diagnoses among these. You can take the screenshot. Symptoms can be the viral infection symptoms. It can be lymphadenopathy, weight loss. Another important differential is also HIV in case of low WBC count. And of course, we'll have to manage the underlying cause. We have to find out the cause and manage the cause. We also discussed about the leukocytosis, more than 10,000. Acute, either an acute infection or a chronic infection. Or also it can be recovery post chemotherapy. When the chemotherapy suppresses WBC count, If you stop chemotherapy, there's a rebound increase. Or we can also have, sometimes we give a WBC growth factors, neuro, leukine, all those other factors which sometimes given for increasing WBC count. Symptoms can be symptoms of infection. I'll just go through it. Cough, dysuria, skin infections, cervical pain, okay, erythema, edema. All those depends upon what exactly is the infection. What exactly is the infection? And I was talking about this neutrophils, right? So neutrophils, normal count is 60%, 2 to 6 lobes. If there are more than 3 lobes, it is called an hyper-segmented one we were talking about. And the function of this is to kill the bacteria. If there is a prolonged exposure of these, can also damage the normal tissues. And what does it become in case of infection is a pus. So wherever there's a pus, think about it can be neutrophils. Or think about it can be the dead neutrophils. That's what is a dead neutrophils. Low neutrophil count that we already have discussed, viral infections, autoimmune disorders, or can be anti-epileptic, anti-cancer drugs. High neutrophil count that we also have discussed recently, it can be acute or chronic infections. We'll have to think about what exactly is the infection. Eosinophil, of course, all of us have an idea about. Normally, is about 1 to 4% of leukocytes. Normal is a bilobe nucleus, you can see. And those coarse red color granules. Now, even if I'm not zooming at my side, you can zoom from your side. It's a bilobe nucleus. And there is a coarse red color granules. There is a coarse red color granule. It is used to increase during the allergic reaction and fighting the parasitic infection. We talked about it just now. So if it is a low eosinophil, has got no significance. Eosinophil count is high, probably allergy or atopic infections, asthma, hay fever, parasites. Rare causes can be Hodgkin's lymphoma. Basophil is the rarest one. Bilobe nucleus again. It is used again allergic and parasitic infections. This normally it is about 0 to 1%. 0 to 1%. So basophil low has got no significance. High can be associated with myeloproliferative disorders like called cancers, leukemias and leukemioid reactions. Lymphocytes increases during chronic inflammation. So most important WBCs is lymphocytes. Why not neutrophil? Because lymphocyte is important for chronic and also has got long half-life or lifespan. So most important immunological cells we have is a neutrophils. Sorry, is a lymphocyte. I'm sorry, 20 to 45%, and they are all collected in the lymphoid connective tissue, lymph nodes, and bone marrow. Lymph nodes, tonsils, and spleen responds to the antigen of foreign particles. We have two types of cells that we all know. We also have NK cells that kills the viruses. So T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. T lymphocyte, as we know in the immunology, is responsible for cell-mediated immune response. This is for the humoral or antibody-mediated immune response. Now, for those who are joining for the first time, take the screenshot whenever I finish the writing on the slide, so that the significance of interpretation is also there along with. And as we have already discussed that lymphocytes low is clinically insignificant, but high lymphocytes associated with some of the acute infections like tuberculosis and viral infections, smoking, hyposplenism, stress response, chronic lymphoid leukemias, and also the chronic inflammations. Chronic inflammations. Monocytes are the largest leukocytes, is about 18 micron in size. Connective tissues may transform into macrophages. So monocytes which are there in the connective tissues, they can become macrophages. This is what is in immunology called as a monocyte macrophage system. Macrophage system. Now remember, one thing you must understand clinically and practically, that the total count has got less importance than something called an absolute count. Total count has got less importance than the absolute count. Now, reason behind that, because total count, let's say for example, a total count can be, total count is let's say 18,000. But which cells are definitely have increased? Which cells are increased? So absolute count, we have three types of responses. Okay. Okay. So what is PLC, DLC, and ALC? Total leukocyte count. Differential leukocyte count is the percentage, but absolute leukocyte count is how much cells are there. Because when we are comparing 100 cells, let's say for example, lymphocytes have increased, but you may misinterpret that neutrophils are reduced. But this is what is normal. This is what is because of lymphocyte increase. So ALC has got more significance. Has got more significance. Now let's come to the platelet part of it. Now remember, this is what is I can say most important, because people die because of this. And whenever the season come up, we always worried about how much the platelets. Whenever patient has got fever, we again say, okay, how many are the platelets?